Good afternoon and welcome to FP Markets Daily Market Update, coming to you live from a incredibly wet Sydney. But good news, apart from the weather over here, ASX up 0.95%, and it's been another day, and I suppose a little bit of a change of sentiment again. We're back on the front foot. Stock markets, decent recovery across all time zones at the moment, and just coming into the London session, and things are looking positive coming into the European Open. What are we blaming this for? Couple of little factors. The Omicron fears subside a bit. Obviously, stocks back on the front foot. We're back in the it's not too bad frame of mind in the investor window, so that's all good. Stock markets back, higher risk trades looking good as well. Crucially as well, in China, we saw a little bit of easing from the central bank. $188 billion worth just thrown back. I think it's dollars worth thrown back at the market. So good news over there, and certainly Far East Asian bourses have taken that very well. So just skipping across, let's nip across to a few of the currencies. So not surprisingly, risk currencies, a little bit of a move back after recent lows. Obviously, Aussie had dipped under 70 cents for the first time in a long time yesterday, but back 80 points north of that point. As per usual expected, there's a fair amount of options interest down around there. To me, still in this sort of down channel, and we probably need much more greater combined long news to get the good news, to get the Aussie back on its feet and back moving higher. No surprises. Kiwi as well, a lot of interest around 67.50 we're hearing in the Kiwi, and that probably does account for this sort of oscillating move around about that level. But looking on the longer term charts, not too bad there, but still sort of firmly on the back foot. We are trading at really yearly lows as we move into the new year. Cable a little bit perked back up off that sort of 132 level. We're trading at 132.80 at the moment, moving into London. Expect some more moves in the Betty Grable as London comes in and the market really starts to get cracking. Probably a little bit topside. So dollar is moving off as we would expect. That safe haven trade that we've been seeing for quite a while now. Not really, obviously on the back foot because we're all a little bit happier. Euro still sort of hanging in close to those lows really. So after obviously the action, or I suppose lack of relative action that we saw after non-farm payrolls on Friday night, Euro's still hanging in there. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. But hanging in at recent lows just below 113, the figure. Dollar yen, not surprisingly, but a little bit more punchy. So back up to the top side. It has rallied really nicely off that 112.50 level a couple of times, and obviously that will be a bit of a feature if we move down. That's probably going to be a target for the bears out there. I would suggest we're probably around 114.50 for the bulls, and then back up to those previous levels just south of 115.50 if we get some moving. I think the key factor for me is that we are seeing a lot more volatility coming through. Currencies are trading nicely off a lot of the technicals. They are moving off fundamentals, and there are trading opportunities coming through. So dollar CAD, as you can see here, I've left this sort of formal resistance trend line in here. This is on the hourlies, and obviously this is on the dailies, but it's respecting it quite well. That's why it's still in there. A few little nips underneath there. Be interesting to see what happens if we get a move down here. Obviously with CAD, keep a close eye on oil and the movements that we see in the oil market. Swissy looking like trading in that sort of middle of that range that we've seen for quite a while, and this is a bit of a pennant forming. 92.50 at the moment, so a break one side or the other. Has had a little bit of a nip up, but still firmly Euro Swiss on the back foot. Once again, don't discount rumours of the SMB being around. They don't mind the illiquid trading conditions, and as we come into the next few weeks towards Christmas, don't forget about that, and obviously adjust your capital management, your risk management accordingly. Obviously, big news on the weekend. Bitcoin took a shellacking, for want of a better word. Bit of a bounce as well, though, like just $10,000, all the way off of those lows down at 42,000. Probably a little resistance coming in, where former support was, and once again we'll be keeping a close eye on that. But strangely, not really trading in the safe haven category that it had been touted months previously. Now, obviously, a big focus for us here at FP Markets. A lot of traders trading gold. It is still trading nicely in that longer term pattern that we've seen on the dailies, coming down to sort of support. I would suggest that early support's around about 17.50 50 underneath there. That's that crucial 1700 level that's sort of, it's bounced off of a few times this year. So traders keeping a close eye on that, and we are seeing some keen interest coming through there. So back to the stock markets, things still looking nice and perky. Japan there, the topics. So some of the growth and the tech companies coming back a lot stronger, not surprisingly, with this sort of resurgence of optimism. I suppose the caveat I would put on it for everyone is that, you know, we are driven by news. We driven by Omicron news for the last couple of weeks. If we do see an increase in cases, if we do see some sort of a report from a medical journal or the WHO or whoever that it could be more serious than we think, be ready for a little bit of downside. Conversely, of course, if it doesn't look anywhere near as serious as the last variants that we've had out, especially Delta, then we could see moves back to the top side. Then the focus will be moving back onto central banks and all the usual stuff that we get for fundamental moves. So that's about it for today. Plenty of movement. Keep an eye on the news wires. Keep an eye on the data coming through. We've got some interesting things that will be coming through later in the week, but it's relative to last week, it's sort of a bit more quieter on the data front. So certainly plenty of trading opportunities, and if you need anything from us here at FP Markets, please do give us a shout. Thank you very much for listening, and have a cracking day ahead. Cheers.